Hi everyone, I'm Hextasy, and today we'll be playing through a hardcore Nuzlocke of Pokemon Platinum using only Pokemon that are objectively garbage. The determining factor will be their tier placement in the Gen 4 metagame. Anything that is in never used tier and below will be available to us. And for our naming theme, we'll be naming them after things no one ever uses. Those consumable items you stockpile just in case you'll need them later, but then never do. But before we can give a nickname to our starter, a Chimchar, we need to take on our rival and their Piplup. We start with a Scratch, and they use Growl to cut our attack. They keep using Growl, and we keep using Scratch, and we are soon reduced to dealing 1 damage per attack. Critical hits ignore negative stat changes, so we just need to land 1 in order to win. But it never comes and Chimchar goes down, so we have to reset already. With our new Chimchar, I switch up my strategy and use Leer to drop their defense as they drop our attack, and with our Scratch actually doing damage, we are able to win. And arriving at Sandgem Town, we can give Chimchar the name Firebomb. Once we get our hands on some Pokeballs, we head to Lake Verity, where we can catch our first chump that we'll be throwing into the meat grinder, a Bidoof named Potion. Next, we head over to Route 202 to catch Lightning the Shinx, and we make it to Jubilife City, where we can head a little north to catch Corrosive the Zubat. East of the city is our first rematch with our rival. A couple Embers takes out his Starly, and our return doesn't do much against Piplup, so we begin to use Leer to drop their defense, then we can swap to Lightning to finish the job with a couple tackles to win the fight. We head over to the Ravaged Path next to catch Lead the Psyduck, and on Route 203 we can use Firebomb's taunt to stop an Abra from teleporting away, so we can catch them and name them Witching. We forget to record ourselves catching Pebble the Geodude at Orberg Gate, and we evolve Firebomb into a Monferno. With our army of garbage fully assembled, we can take on the first gym leader, Rourke. He starts with a Geodude while we bust out Lead, who scores a one-hit KO with a water gun. Onix comes in and sets up a Stealth Rock before also being destroyed by a water gun. All that's left is Cranidos, and predicting us switching out, they use Pursuit, but we stay in and bring them well below half HP with a water gun. Rourke uses a potion to heal, but one more water gun takes them out anyways to win the fight. Shortly after, we can begin evolving groups of our Pokemon. Lightning evolves to a Luxio, Potion evolves into Barrel, and Witching into a Kadabra. We can then head to the Valley Windworks to catch what will evolve into my favorite Gen 4 Pokemon, Earn the Shellos. After a short tussle with Team Galactic, we get some honey and slap it on a tree in the Floroma Meadows. This attracts a literal ass face in the form of Spice the Wurmple. They can evolve into either a Silcoon or Cascoon, and we get the latter, who we further evolve into a Dustox. Before we can advance further, we need to take on the first Team Galactic commander, Mars. She starts with a Zubat that gets annihilated by a confusion from Witching. Perugly comes in and we swap to Pebble on a feint attack. We begin throwing out Rock Smashes while tanking some feint attacks, and we eventually win the fight. Winning gives us access to Route 205, where we catch Skeptic the Pachirisu, and in the Eterna Forest we try to catch a Baniri, but we don't take out Cheryl's Chansey, and it begins bombing the bunny, leaving them with seemingly 1 HP. We throw out one more Pokeball, and we get them. Chances are they have the Klutz ability, so we'll be naming them Simpleton. We evolve Corrosive into a Golbat, and now it's time to take on Gardenia, the second gym leader. We'll be starting with Corrosive against her Turtwig, and we move first and land a wing attack that just misses the KO. They set up a Reflect, so after they heal, our wing attack only brings them down to half HP. One more wing attack scores the KO, and Cherim comes out. Our first wing attack only takes out about a third of their HP, and they set up a safeguard. Luckily, our second wing attack is a critical hit that takes them down. All she has left is Roserade, and despite paralyzing us, we can take them down with a couple wing attacks to win the fight. Our level cap is raised enough for us to evolve Pebble into a Graveler, just in time for our fight with the second Galactic Commander, Jupiter. Her Zubat goes down to a single Confusion like Mars did, and her Skuntank comes in. We switch to Pebble, getting hit by a critical hit Night Slash that takes out more than half our HP. But as long as they don't score a second critical hit, we should be able to do big damage with the Magnitude. Well damn. I'm going to be completely honest here, but I had every intention of bringing Pebble to the Elite Four and having them blow themselves up on Cynthia's Garchomp. Anyways, we bring out Firebomb, who is outsped and hit by a smoke screen, lowering our accuracy and causing our Flame Wheel to miss. After tanking a Night Slash, we land a critical hit Flame Wheel that brings them well below half HP and activates their Citrus Berry. They go for a Poison Gas, which misses, and we go for a Flame Wheel, which misses. We miss 2 more Flame Wheels before we land one and bring them to a quarter HP. We're then able to land one more to take them out and win us the fight. While trying to exit the city, we get jump scared by a white woman who won't let us leave until we take her egg. Togetic is usable for us, but we'll be holding off on hatching them until we really need them. And as long as we're taking free things, we might as well get the Explorer Kit, which will let us get an actual Pokemon we want. A Cranidos named Prism, who we revive at the Orberg Museum. And on the way there, we were also able to catch Sacred Ash the Ponyta at Route 206. We start heading towards Hearthome City and nab Silky the Chingling and Mount Coronet, and Green the Roselia at Route 209. And on top of that, we evolve Simpleton into a Lopunny, just in time for the gym they can do nothing to help us in. Fantina and her Mismagius is the single fight I'm most worried about, and we need to give ourselves every possible advantage against it. She starts with a Duskull while we bust out Firebomb. We start by setting up a Stealth Rocks while we get hit by a Pursuit for minimal damage. Our Flame Wheel takes out half their HP and they use Future Sight. The second Flame Wheel takes them down and Haunter comes in, losing HP to Stealth Rocks. Haunter outspeeds us and lands a Hypnosis to put Firebomb asleep. Future Sight hits, but fails, and we're then hit by several Shadow Claws. Our Oranberry heals us up a bit, and we eventually wake up and land a Flame Wheel to take them down. Mismagius comes in, loses some HP to Stealth Rocks, then lands a Shadow Ball to kill Firebomb. Sacred Ash comes in, moving first and lowering their defense with a Tail Whip. We get hit by a Confuse Ray, but we power through to land another Tail Whip. Shadow Ball brings us below half HP, activating our Oranberry, and we snap out of confusion to land a third Tail Whip. We barely survive another Shadow Ball, and we decide to sack Sacred Ash here by using yet another Tail Whip. We'll be getting a better fire type later in the run, so I'm okay with losing them to a Psybeam. This lets us bring in Lightning, who survives a Shadow Ball before taking out Mismagius with a Bite for the KO. Our third rival battle is next, and he starts with an Intimidate Staravia while we bring out Prism. They start spamming out some double teams, causing our first couple takedowns to miss. Our third lands and takes out a little less than half their HP. They begin using wing attacks, and thanks to our type advantage, it doesn't do a lot, but they're able to bring us below half HP, and our Oranberry heals us before we land an Assurance to finish them off. Prinplup is up next, and we swap to Potion on a Bubble Beam. We land a strong Hyper Fang before getting hit by a Growl, but our next Hyper Fang crits for the KO. Roselia comes in, so we switch to Corrosive on a Stun Spore, and we lose a whole 3 ass HP to a Poison Sting, then take them down with a Wing Attack. All that's left is Ponyta, and it takes 3 turns for us to finally move and land a Wing Attack. We then switch to Simpleton, who takes the win with a return. We next arrive at Route 215 where we catch Coin the Lickitung, and before reaching the next gym, we evolve Lightning into a Luxray and Urn into a Gastrodon. For the gym battle with Maylene, we'll be starting with Simpleton the Lopunny against her Meditite. Using a normal type may seem like a rookie mistake, but I am confident he'll be able to handle her first couple Pokemon. Meditite lands a Fake Out, flinching us and giving the stupid onion head diaper baby a little more time to contemplate their short life on this earth before getting annihilated by a return. Machoke is up next, and our return takes out half their HP before they go for a Rock Tomb, which misses. One more return seals the deal, and her ace Lucario is in. Now, what we should do here is swap out Simpleton for literally any of our other Pokemon, but he has been doing phenomenally. Why would I steal from him the glory of soloing the gym that's the biggest threat to their existence? We outspeed Lucario, go for a jump kick, it lands, but it doesn't take them down. Lucario lands a Drain Punch, and to the shock of absolutely no one but me, Simpleton dies. We bring Skeptic in next and land a Charm to cut Lucario's attack in half. From there, we can swap to Corrosive, who can slowly beat the stuffing out of Lucario with wing attacks until they go down and we win the fight. Heading towards the next town, we evolve Prism into a Rampardos, and we come across a Girafarig named Small at the Valor Lakefront. We could have caught something at Route 214, but I didn't because I guess I just wasn't feeling it. I then remember I could get a free Porygon in Veilstone City, so we backtrack there, evolving Coin into a Licky on the way there. I forgot which house we could find the Porygon in, so I begin going door to door, and it winds up being in the last building I check. We name them Smooth, and for those wondering about the free Eevee in Hearthome City, we'll get back to them eventually. Before the next gym leader, we have to take on our rival again, but his team hasn't changed and he gets steamrolled as a result. Going into the gym battle with Wake, he starts with his Gyarados while we bring out Coin. We survive a waterfall, then land a Thunderbolt for a one-hit KO. Floatzel is in next, and they land a Crunch, bringing us below half HP and activating our Citrus Berry. After healing, we have lost a grand total of 1 HP and land a Thunderbolt. They barely survive and their Citrus Berry heals them. We take another Crunch and then finish them with a Thunderbolt. All he has left is Quagsire, and we swap to Green, who survives a Rock Tomb on the switch-in, then lands a Giga Drain for the one-hit KO to win the fight. Team Galactic then sets off a bomb in the Pastoria Marsh, and we all kinda just let him get away, so we have to chase him down. Cynthia shows up, also letting him escape, and gives us medicine to give to the Psyduck blocking the north half of Route 210. The second we give them the medicine, Cynthia shows up again, which makes me wonder why she just didn't do it herself, and she then hands a charm to give to her grandma in the next town. And, spoiler, she also shows up in the town seconds after we give her grandma the charm. I guess she just really doesn't like talking to her grandma. But before that happens, we need to go through the fog-covered hellscape of Route 210. Colonel, I'm trying to sneak around, but I'm dummy thick, and the clap of my ass cheeks keeps alerting the other trainers. Anyways, we make it to the next town. The haha funny bowl cut man threatens another terrorist attack, and then we have our first battle with the boss of Team Galactic, Cyrus. He starts with a Sneasel while we bring out Coin. Coin loses half their defense to a Screech, then lands a flamethrower that leaves Sneasel with the burn. We should switch out here, but I decide to get a little silly and use Rollout after Cyrus heals. They survive the first hit, land a Slash for solid damage, and barely survive the second. Luckily, the burn damage KOs them, and Golbat comes in. Their Poison Fang brings us low, but our Citrus Berry heals us up to 69 HP. Nice. Rollout just misses the KO, and a second Poison Fang leaves us badly poisoned before our rollout takes out Golbat. All Cyrus has left is Murkrow, which has no shot at surviving a hit from rollout, but they're faster than us and kill Coin with a feint attack. So we bring out Lightning to take them down with a couple Thunder Fangs, and this is when the aforementioned Gilf-hating Cynthia shows up and does absolutely nothing for us. Luckily, the Gilf is actually helpful and gives us the Surf-8 gem. With Surf, we can go to the Fuego Ironworks to catch that better fire type I mentioned earlier. Except our first encounter was a Floatzel. I could have visited a route we didn't catch anything on to get a Buizel, but what's done is done. So we catch Lloyd, then head to Route 218 to grab Talisman the Mr. Mime, and have yet another rival battle in Canalave City. We start with Small the Girafarig against his Staraptor, and outspeed them to land a Thunderbolt for the one-hit KO. Heracross is in next, and we land a Psychic, but they live and hit us hard with the Night Slash. One more Psychic takes them down, and Rapidash comes in. We swap to Prism on a takedown, which misses, and we land one of our own after being hit by a Tail Whip. It wipes out more than half their HP, and after Rapidash misses a second takedown, we take them down with our second one. Empoleon comes in, and we swap to Urn on a Bubble Beam, which does solid damage. We survive a second, but it activates our Citrus Berry before we land a Mud Bomb to remove half their HP. We survive another Bubble Beam, but then our Mud Bomb misses. A fourth attack brings Urn low, but they're able to land a second Mud Bomb for the KO, and all he has left is Roserade, but we can just swap to Corrosive, who takes the win with a single fly. With him out of the way, there's nothing stopping us from challenging the 6th gym leader, Byron. We open with Urn against his Magneton, and it not only outspeeds us, but lands a critical hit Tri-Attack, removing half of our HP and freezing us. A second Tri-Attack brings us low, enough to activate the healing from our Citrus Berry, and we tank yet another. We can't move after the third one, but after the fourth brings us down to just 14 HP, we're able to thaw out and land a Mud Bomb for the KO. Steelix comes in just to get destroyed by a Surf, and all he has left is his Bastiodon. This thing is an absolute wall, and if it survives a hit, then Urn is dead. But with a 4-time super effective Mud Bomb, I think we have a good chance at a one-hit KO. Unfortunately, Bastiodon survives, and Urn goes down to a Stone Edge. We bring out Lightning to use Thunder Fang, hoping for a KO, but it doesn't do enough damage. We lose some HP to a Metal Burst, and Byron then heals. We begin to use Leers to drop their defense, and before Lightning can go down, we swap to Skeptic. We use Super Fang to cut their HP in half, then get destroyed by a Metal Burst. But with their HP below half, we can bring Lightning back out to take them down with a Thunder Fang. Nope, they barely survive and a Stone Edge kills Lightning. We bring out Small to finish the job with a Thunderbolt to win the fight. Well, that was unfortunate. There is probably not another soul on this earth that has had that much trouble with Byron. And yeah, we've been losing a lot of our strongest Pokemon to me being a goofball, so I think it's time we hit up some of the places we didn't catch anything at to catch some new Pokemon instead of just blowing through the game. Speaking of blowing things, Team Galactic blows up a lake and we have to check it out. There's a few places near it where we haven't caught anything yet, so we can replenish our PC box. Starting at Hearthome City, we can pick up Silver the Eevee, who we mentioned earlier, and evolve them into Flareon. Going down through Route 212, we catch Blossom the Burmy. At the Great Marsh, we try to catch a Yanma, but it runs away. And at Route 213, we try to catch a Chatot, but after throwing a dozen balls at it, we run out and have to skedaddle. We arrive at Lake Valor, where we take on the final Galactic Commander, Saturn. We start with Smooth the Porygon against his Golbat. They immediately land a critical hit Air Cutter, and we land a Psychic for big damage. We get hit by a supersonic, leaving us confused, but Smooth powers through to use Recover, restoring all their HP. We get hit by another critical hit air cutter before a second psychic lands for the KO. Toxicroak comes in, so we swap to Small on a Revenge that leaves us with just 69 HP. Nice. Psychic takes them down, and we switch to Silver to take on his Bronzor, easily winning with a couple flamethrowers. Our battle with Mars right after is basically the same, but with Prism taking out her Perugly. After winning here, we can head north, traveling to Snowpoint City. On the way there, we catch Young the Sneasel at Route 216, White the Snowrunt at Route 217, and at the Acuity Lakefront, we catch Branch the Swinub. We're able to evolve the latter two into a Piloswine and Glalie, and we can evolve Blossom into a Trash Cloak Wormadam Mothim. I didn't realize they were a guy. It feels like a solid 90% of the time I catch a Burmy, it ends up being a girl, so I just assumed Blossom was one, without looking at the big blue hard-to-miss symbol next to their name that says they're a boy. I also became curious about the Burmy gender ratio, and it turns out it's a 50-50, which I refuse to believe. Anyways, Candace is up next, but 3 flamethrowers from Silver brings her down to her last Pokemon, Frostlass. Rather than deal with her evasion shenanigans, we just switch to Young, who beats them with a couple feint attacks. Afterwards, we have our second Cyrus fight. Silver takes out his Sneasel with a flamethrower after being hit by a slash, then Crobat comes in. It brings us below half HP with a Poison Fang, activating our Citrus Berry, but it also badly poisons us. Our flamethrower takes out less than half their HP, so we swap to White, who is also badly poisoned from a Poison Fang. They then get confused by a Supersonic, hitting themselves in confusion. After another Poison Fang, we are able to take them out with an Ice Beam, and his Honchkrow comes in. Unfortunately, White is outsped because we have a negative speed nature and 5 IVs, and killed with a feint attack. Branch comes in next, and we lose half our HP to a Drill Peck, but our Citrus Berry heals us, and we land an Ice Beam that brings them below half HP and activates their Citrus Berry as well. We trade Drill Pecks and Ice Beams, and Honchkrow barely survives, but they do get frozen. Cyrus heals before Honchkrow is brought well below half HP by an Ice Beam, and we try to go for an Ice Shard to finish them off, but it isn't enough and another feint attack kills Branch. But now Prison can come in and tank a feint attack before finishing the job with a takedown. We have a quick battle with Saturn again, but it goes even better for us this time, and we have to climb Mount Coronet to finish Team Galactic off. But with how dangerous things are getting, we actually need to EV train our Pokemon, and we evolve some of our weaker ones like Lead. With preparations out of the way, we climb up Mount Coronet and have our double battle with Mars and Jupiter. We send out Silver and just spam Flamethrower until we win. But then we can go to Pokemon Hell to fight Cyrus for the final time. Starting with his Houndoom against Lloyd, we use Dive, avoiding their Thunder Fang and scoring a one-hit KO. Gyarados comes in next, so we use Ice Punch for little damage and they land an Earthquake for quite a bit, and our Citrus Berry heals us. We send out Potion, who tanks 2 Earthquakes before using Super Fang and missing. They survive a third and land Super Fang to cut Gyarados' remaining HP in half before they go down to a 4th Earthquake. But using them as fodder was always the plan, and now we can bring in Small to secure the KO with a Thunderbolt. Honchkrow comes in, and our Thunderbolt just barely doesn't kill, so we're hit by a critical hit Night Slash that ends our Giraffe. We bring Lloyd back in, and despite Cyrus healing, we can take them out with a couple Ice Punches before they can move. Weavile is up next, and we let Lloyd eat the incoming Fake Out, then switch to Smooth on a Night Slash. They're then hit by an Ice Punch, activating our Citrus Berry, and after a recover, we are back to full HP. We can out-heal Weavile's damage, and a few Signal Beams takes them down. Cyrus has left his Crobat, and after we're hit by a Cross Poison that leaves Smooth with a very nice number of HP left, we can land a Psychic to wipe out most of their HP. We survive another Cross Poison, and then use Psychic to finish them off to win the fight. But now, we have to fight Pokemon Satan, and naturally, our Hot Dog Weasel is the perfect Pokemon for the job. Our Crunch takes out half their HP, and their Ancient Power isn't too strong. They survive the second Crunch with barely any HP, then lands a Dragon Claw that kills Lloyd. Big sad. We send out Talisman the Mr. Mime to kill Satan with a Psychic, and it's back to hunting for new encounters. We catch Duel the Wingull at Route 219, Charm the Sudowoodo at Route 221, Bundle the Pichu in the Trophy Garden, and Gold the Electabuzz at Route 222. After evolving what we can, we take on the final gym leader, Volkner, starting with Bundle against his Jolteon. We outspeed and use Dig for good damage, but we're then paralyzed by a Thunder Wave. Our Lumberry cures us, and a second Dig takes out Jolteon. Electivire is up next, so we switch to Charm on a Fire Punch that barely hurts them. Their Thunder Punch does more damage, but we're still well over half HP, and an Earthquake takes them down. Raichu comes in, so we swap to Silver on a Focus Miss. The second one hits for decent damage, and we land a Flamethrower that leaves them burned. I'm thinking our Quick Attack should, at the very least, put them in range for the burn to KO, but Volkner heals, and our Quick Attack does do decent damage, but also activates Raichu's static ability. We're hit by another Focus Blast, but we then land a Flamethrower for the KO. All we have left to do is beat Luxray. We swap to Gold on a Crunch, then go for a Focus Miss, which misses. A second Crunch brings Gold down to just 8 HP, and we use Hyper Beam, taking out more than half their HP, but then we go down to a Fire Fang. Our static ability activates to paralyze them, so when Charm comes in, they move first and win the fight with an Earthquake. We head through Victory Road, grabbing Soul the Rhydon on the way through as our final encounter for the run, and we have our final rival battle. Bundle one-hit KOs his Staraptor right off the bat, and Snorlax comes in, who is the only real issue on the team for us. We swap to Blossom, who's immune to the incoming Earthquake, and then go for Toxic, which Snorlax is immune to. I forgot they had the immunity ability. Well, poisoning Snorlax was their only job, so we may as well sacrifice them. We land a couple Psychics, one dropping Snorlax's special defense, prompting them to swap out to Empoleon, who kills Blossom with a Brine. Bundle comes in and sets up two nasty plots before Empoleon's Brine brings their HP low enough for our Citrus Berry to activate. Not wanting to risk taking a critical hit, we finish them with a Thunderbolt. Snorlax and Heracross go down to Thunderbolts as well, and a Roserade comes in. We switch to Spice, who Roserade nearly kills with a Shadow Ball, but activates Spice's Citrus Berry to bring them up to 69 HP. Nice. Our next Bug Buzz drops their special defense, prompting them to swap out to Rapidash, and knowing a Fire-type move is coming, we bring out Silver, who's immune and can easily finish Rapidash and Roserade to win the fight. Before entering the Elite Four fights, we attempt to offer Spice as a sacrificial offering to the gods, but no matter how hard I tried, nothing wanted to kill Spice, so they get to live, and it's time for us to battle the Elite Four. Our final team consists of Silver the Flareon, Lead the Golduck, Duel the Pelipper, Soul the Rhydon, Talisman the Mr. Mime, and Bundle the Raichu. So let's get into it. Starting with the Bug Trainer, Aaron. predictably, we can just spam flamethrowers from Silver to get him down to just his Drapion. We bring out Soul to avoid losing Silver to any possible crits, and we take them down with an Earthquake for an easy first fight. Bertha is up next, and we start with Talisman against her Whiscash. We destroy them with a Grass Knot, and Hippowdon comes in. So we swap out to Duel, who gets hit by a Yawn, and just barely misses the KO with Surf. We're hit hard by a Stone Edge, and Duel falls asleep. So we swap out to Lead as Bertha heals her Hippowdon, and Lead proceeds to one-hit KO the rest of her team for another easy win. Next up is Flint, who is honestly a big concern for me. He has plenty of electric type attacks and has Sunny Day to mess with our water types. We start with Lead to take on his Houndoom, and we outspeed and one-shot his entire team with Surf. That was much easier than expected. Moving on to Lucian, we start with Silver against his Mr. Mime. They move first and set up a light screen, blocking a lot of the damage we could have done with Shadow Ball. They then set up Reflect, which blocks a lot of the damage our Strength would have done. They then swap out to Bronzong on a Shadow Ball, barely hurting them. Our Flamethrower brings them low, as does their Earthquake to us, but our Citrus Berry heals to around half HP. Lucian heals, and we land 2 more Flamethrowers to take down Bronzong, and in this time, both of the damage screening moves that Mr. Mime set up fade. Gallade comes in, so we switch to Soul on a Stone Edge that barely hurts them. Gallade knows Leaf Blade, but as long as it doesn't crit, we should be fine. Leaf Blade lands, and it doesn't crit. We survive and use Earthquake, but it just barely isn't enough to kill, so we'll have to switch out. We bring out Talisman to set up our own Reflect, then land a Psychic, which leaves Gallade with seemingly 1 HP before they kill Talisman with a Stone Edge. Soul comes back in, and Gallade uses Psycho Cut instead of Leaf Blade for some reason, and we're able to take them down with an Earthquake. Alakazam comes in, so we switch to Duel on an Energy Ball, and they survive the follow-up Psychic. Our Surf only takes out about half their HP, and Duel goes down to 1 more Psychic. But now, Lead can come in. They get outsped and have to survive an Energy Ball, but after they do, they land a Surf to KO Alakazam. Mr. Mime comes in, only to go down to Surf, and all that's left is Espeon. We swap out to Bundle on a Psychic and use Thunderbolt, leaving Espeon paralyzed, but thanks to their Synchronize ability, we also get paralyzed. So we swap to Silver to finish the job with a Quick Attack to win the fight. The final battle of the run is against the champion Cynthia, and with only 4 Pokemon left, it'll be an uphill battle. She starts with Spiritomb against Lead. A couple Surfs takes them down, but we do lose a decent chunk of HP to a Dark Pulse. Roserade comes in, and we outspeed them to land an Ice Beam for big damage, and they then use Sludge Bomb for some reason. We survive off of 1 HP before our Citrus Berry heals us, and a second Ice Beam takes them down. Togekiss comes in next, and while Ice Beam is able to take out more than half their HP, they land a Shockwave to kill Lead, and we are honestly in a bad situation here. We bring out Silver next, and they're hit hard by a Water Pulse, which also leaves them confused. Luckily, they power through confusion to land a Flamethrower, and it leaves Togekiss with minimal HP. Cynthia heals, and our Strength doesn't do too much, and we can't survive another hit, so we'll have to swap out. We switch to Bundle, and at the same time, Cynthia swaps out to Lucario. We take a risk and use Focus Miss. Luckily, it hits, leaving Lucario barely alive, and they land a Stone Miss, and our Citrus Berry heals us back over half HP. We then land a Thunderbolt to take out Lucario, and Garchomp comes in. We swap to Silver, who is immediately killed by a Dragon Rush, but that lets us safely bring in Soul the Rhydon. They survive an Earthquake before landing an Avalanche for the 1-hit KO, and Melodic comes in, outspeeding us and killing Soul with a Surf. All we have left is Bundle the Raichu, but that's all we need. If Thunderbolt doesn't KO and Melodic uses Miracle, we lose. So we use Nasty Plot to double our special attack, and Melodic uses their Miracle, which does nothing since we didn't attack. We use Thunderbolt on the following turn for the one-hit KO to win the fight and the run. Oh right, Togekiss is still alive. I forgot about them. We use one more Thunderbolt to take them out to win us the fight and the run. We cut things pretty close there at the end, but our team of objective garbage managed to come out on top. I've been Hextasy, and thanks for watching.